Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Carp. This evening we are going to be showing you how to tie the Chod rig as well as talk about the rig. It's not a rig I use a lot of, to be fair, these days. Did a few years ago and it was all the rage, but it's a good rig, don't get me wrong. You know, I've used it on mainly naked online, and I've used it a couple of times on lead core. I think the best way to fish it, to be honest, although I don't like it that much, is lead core. I think it's the best way to fish it on. But yeah, most of my fishing's been straight on the main line, fluorocarbon main line. Although it does work on heavy lines such as the likes of subline, any sort of heavy line that sinks, it's all right. But yeah, that is one I've already tied with sharp tackle rigid. Yeah, I like to get them as low as I can, to be fair. That's quite a long one for me, that one. Yeah, about an inch and a half in length. But yeah, you can literally manipulate it and put as much as a curve in it as you want, really. Yeah, just heat it up with your fingers. But yeah, on there's a medium-sized rig ring. It's a size 6 Chod hook, and with a Choddy swivel. Yeah. So right, I'm going to show you how to tie it. So I always try. I'm going to try and tie this one with about 6 inches of the material. Like I say, it's sharp tackles, rigid. Yeah. So right, it's nice and easy rig to tie, to be fair. Yeah, I don't use crimps. I used it I used them, you know, when they first come out. Didn't like I didn't like the damage on the main line that the crimp was making, or it looked like it was making. So I just come off them, to be fair. You know, different ways suit different people, and it just wasn't for me. So right, yeah, size 6 Chod hook. All you got to do is right, slide it down to the length. Leave yourself a nice little bit of a tag end to create your D on the back of the hook. So about that much, just enough to pull it back through and blob it. Right, literally working away from the manufactured groove in the hook, just 7 times round. Right, so always sending it back through so it comes out point side. That's it, tighten it all up like so. Right, then this time I've just showed you that I've got a medium-sized rig ring on the other Chod rig, but my preferred is, and I use an eyed, a ringed bait screw. Yeah, just so you know it's going to be sitting exactly how you want it all of the time. And all you do is you literally pull the material to the side, just allowing you to poke it back through to create your D, like so. You see that there, it's coming back out. And when you've got the D to how you like it, which mine is about that big, all you do then, you make sure the other material is right out of the way. Windproof lighter is always easiest whenever you're blobbing anything. And then, lovely. Like so. There is your Chod section. Just like that. So yeah. And then, tying, like I say, with a good material, a thicker material for your Chod, you can get away with a 3 to 4 turn blood knot. As long as you blob it, it's fine. It's very, very finicky, and it's even more finicky with hands the size of mine, but you can do it. So, right, what you do when you start off as small as you can away from the eye, because, yeah, obviously it's going to stretch it slightly when you put it all down. So, you just wrap it round, like I say, 3 to 4 turns. There you go, like so. I'll let go of it once it's been turned 3 times to get the fourth one, because it's very tough material, and yeah, it just makes it easier to get the fourth one. There we go. Use your mouth if you have to, like that. Then you're going back through the little tiny loop you've just formed by the swivel there. You can just about see that. So you're going to go back through there. Don't get me wrong, you can see why people do use crimps, but I find it's much less damage doing it this way. Like I say, use your teeth if you have to tighten it all up. Tighten it all down, pull it all tight like so, and there you go. There is your chod. Yeah, all you do now, trim that away like that. Just bob that down. Like that. That's it. Lovely. That is strong, that's not going anywhere. Yeah, and like I say, you can just manipulate it with your fingers, warmth your fingers. Obviously you can steam it over the kettle if you like to. There you go. I always have liked mine very aggressive, to be fair. Like I say, I have used the bait screw without the ring on. Still works, just that I've found there's a lot more movement, and it's a lot more movement with a ring on there. And in water, with that extra ring, it does sit a lot nicer, I find, against the bait with that extra ring on. Sorry. And there you have it. That is the chod rig. Nice and easy little rig, and like I say, it's a cast anywhere rig, really, to be fair. Works well on its own. You know, fished over silkweed, ground you're not sure of, heavy silt, yeah, general chod leaves. You know, it will lay over anything. And I mean, if ever I've been unsure and I've fished it naked straight on the main line, you just literally slide the beads up. You know, I tend to have it so it's sort of running in between 2 beads like that. That far apart, about 1 inch apart, but sometimes I might put that 5 or 6 feet up the line to cast it if I'm unsure of what's out there. But you can guarantee, providing you fish that line slack enough, that is fishing. Yeah, and if you know that what the bottom's like, you can you can adjust it to have it. You can have it running, like I say, you can have it 1 inch apart, you can have it a couple of inches apart. Obviously, if you're fishing it on fluorocarbon, it becomes the fluorocarbon main line pretty much hooks the fish because of the weight of it. It's much nicer fishing it on a fluorocarbon, to be fair. It sinks much better. But yeah, it's a devastating rig. But for me, it's not a rig I've used a lot. And it's one of the few rigs now that I haven't caught a 40-pound fish on it. I think I've had them up to just under 35. But like I say, especially with a bait screw, it when you know, it just saves. You know, like when you blob the bait on with floss, you put it in the edge, you look down, and it looks a mess. It's got a horrible black mess on it where you've blobbed it, a brown mark. With a bait screw, you just see the bait. You're looking down to a bait and not a burn mark, or you know, it's much better, and it really does look nice like that when you're fishing it like that on a chod. Yeah, like I say, not a rig I use a lot, but a really effective one. Really effective one. And to be fair, a lot of people use lighter leads. I used to use mainly 2.5 or a 3 on it, to be honest. Yeah, because whenever I've used the Chod, I've never had to fish it at any range up to sort of 70, 80 yards. Just want to say, guys, as well, the fact that I always like, because if you set up your Chod right, it should be very slow sinking. I always put a small amount of putty around the barrel, so it slowly sinks. It takes a while to sink to the bottom. That's how I prefer my Chods to go down. That way they're sitting over anything there is possible on the bottom. You don't want them sinking like an house brick to the bottom. Very, very slow sinking. Like I say, you just pinch the putty that you need round the barrel of the Chod swivel. And again, most of my fishing, although I have caught fish on singles, on Chods, most of my fish have come to fishing over sprayed boilies. Boilies sprayed over an area. That's the way I've generally fished the Chod, to be fair, in amongst baits. So yeah, I always like to keep it a nice low to the bottom, so even if it does rest on, a bit of fluffy silkweed, or it's rested on leaves that are raised off the bottom, it's still going to be sitting low and acting, almost as low as the baits there is on the bottom. Obviously, for a bigger fish as well, them bigger fish, because their eyes are so much further away from the bait than a smaller one, it's harder for them to detect whether that bait's on the bottom or not. But it's going to stick out like a sore thumb if it's 5 or 6 inches off the bottom. So yeah, that's just the way I've always fished it. And it's like I say, when I have fished the rig, it's always worked well. But yeah, a really, really great rig. And I hope that gives you an insight to how to tie it and how to go about using it. If you like the video, guys, smash the subscribe button. Click the notification bell. That way you'll be notified the next time my vlog go live. Give us a thumbs up, and by all means follow me. Adam Honeyset on Facebook, Adam Carp Honeyset on Instagram. And one thing's for sure, we'll either see you in here talking about rigs or tactics, or we'll see you out in the bank. Thanks for watching, guys. All the very best. See you soon.